pues tienes una victoria importante contra un rival de estas características. ¿Te toca ir más al frente para evitar la decisión final?
Pues la pelea, como siempre, no. Hay que salir a pelear, hacer mi trabajo y pues es una pelea dura, es una pelea grande y lo más importante es el lugar, ¿no? Es el Madison Square Garden y para mí tener un buen performance ahí es algo que me va a catapultar en mi carrera.
Voy a preguntar sobre el Madison precisamente. ¿Te cambia mucho el tema de la presencia de gente después de mucho tiempo?
Realmente no. Yo realmente no tengo mucha diferencia si peleo ante miles de personas o nadie. Para mí simplemente el objetivo es uno y es acabar el que tengo enfrente mío. No importa ciudad, país o arena. Pero en este caso el arena es especial para mí.
Hablaste mucho y has repetido bastante lo de finalizarlo antes del tercero. ¿Qué es lo más difícil para lograrlo tomando en cuenta la carrera de Frankie?
Pues salir a hacer todo, no dejar nada guardado, no dejar todo ir y pues simplemente pelear hasta el final.
¿Crees que él va a tener una estrategia similar a la que tuvo él en su momento contigo, tomando en cuenta la edad y todo lo demás?
Ah, es probable, las posibilidades son muchas, ¿no? Pero me he enfocado mucho en estar en forma, en tener un buen juego de pelea y salir a ejecutar, salir con todo.
¿Cuáles son tus expectativas más allá de la victoria, obviamente? ¿Y qué seguiría después de él?
Pues primero lo primero y eso es ganar.
Chito, ¿cómo estás? Desde Ecuador también, y realmente es un placer poder estar en la pelea del día sábado. En cuanto al performance que trabajaste para esta pelea, ¿qué tuvo que cambiar de cara a lo que será justamente tu siguiente rival?
Pues obviamente la última fue contra un striker, este es un luchador que boxea muy bien, entonces algunos boxeadores profesionales vinieron a darme rounds, traje buenos luchadores para trabajar ahí y al final del día hacer sparring con peleadores que tengan cualidades similares, ¿no? Buen boxeo, buena lucha y entrenar muy fuerte y ser muy disciplinado.
¿Crees que no te hayan finalizado, que no tengas knockouts? ¿Es una presión adicional para ti o es un aliento, una motivación?
Pues simplemente prefiero no pensar en eso, ¿no? Yo creo que cuando te enfocas en esas cosas es cuando lo peor puede pasar, ¿no? Para mí el enfoque es hacer mi trabajo, mantener mi disciplina, mi ética de trabajo siempre al 100 y salir a con todo, ¿no? Matar o morir.
Y la última de mi parte, ¿crees que después de esta pelea, si Dios permite, hay un triunfo, podrías ir por una pelea de cinturón?
Pues sí, es un nombre grande, me pondría en la fila para eso y sería una victoria gigante para mí.
Chito, obviously a huge fight here. Frankie Edgar, legend of the sport, and you're obviously starting to get more and more of these kind of names and everything. Does that give you confidence and just show that you're kind of getting to the point in your career, I imagine, where you've been thinking about and wanting to be for a very long time?
100%. I feel that title dream, that putting that belt around my waist is just it's a matter of time. It's about these fights. It's winning the right fights and putting on performances. Like I don't think the UFC is looking for almost a win. They're looking for shocking performances, and that's what I've been doing in my career. That's what I know I can do, and I fought the who's of the division. I'm right there, and then I had setbacks. I lost fights before, but I saw those fights, and I'm like, I'm barely losing those fights, and some of them I really don't even lose them. So it's like adjustments have been made in order to get past those fights, and the technique is there, the gas tank has been always there. Like I can go forever, I can push the pace, I can be in the fire, and it's just a matter of time before I get that belt on my waist, put it on.
And Frankie, obviously, he has the most fight time of anyone in UFC history, and that's kind of a two-sided coin, right? He has all the experience in the world. I'm sure there's not much you can do in there that he hasn't seen to some degree, but also it's a lot of damage, a lot of minutes and everything. Where do you kind of, I guess, sit on that side of it? Like, do you think he's a danger because of that, or do you see a vulnerable opponent?
Well, he's been in both sides. He have all the time, but he also have all the damage. At the end of the day, I cannot expect him to just fall with one punch because if I go with that mental game, he might take it, and then what? Then you're lost because then your biggest weapon, one punch didn't work, right? So I see this fight playing on my head like, dirty, bloody, hard, and I'm ready for that. I know I can be there, so I'm not worried about that. And Saturday night, you guys will see a better me, and I said it and I will say it again. It won't go 3 rounds.
And he obviously suffered a really bad knockout in the last fight against Sandhagen. Do you go in there and obviously, the goal is to hit him a lot in the fight period, but to try to maybe hit him with the shot early and kind of test where he's at, both reactionary and if he can just take those shots still?
Those type of flashy KOs don't happen every fight. If you expect to win like that every single fight, it's just the wrong game plan. Those things happen sometimes, and it's beautiful to see something like that. That was a flashy knee, that was cool, but it just doesn't happen anymore. Like Sandhagen did that against Tilla and Peter, throw that same knee 100 times. It just, if that's your goal, if that's the game plan, it just don't work all the time. You have to fight, and for me, it's just going in there, fight him, make him pay for everything he tried to do, and put him out.
And where do you think a win over a legend like Frankie Edgar puts you in this division? We have a title unification fight coming up. There's a lot of big names and contenders. Do you expect to be firmly in that conversation with a win here?
Well, a win Saturday night would literally put me at number 8. That's like a door from the top 5. So I'm right there in line, And for me, it's just making a special fight, a special win, and it's Madison Square Garden. Like, there's no opponent that can match that. They can, put me anybody. Just that arena alone is the biggest thing I ever had in my career. So I'm gonna make it happen in a fashion way.
Marlon, right here. You said something just a few minutes ago about how the UFC doesn't want to fighters that win close fights, or like they might not have won these fights. And I think Jorge Masvidal said something similar. And then he took that time off, and then he came back, and he kind of reinvented his fighting style and his approach. Did you have to have that conversation with yourself, that maybe not just win the fight, but just go out there and just do damage and put the guy away?
I think for myself, when I got signed to the UFC, I was 6-1. I had pretty decent competition outside in South America. I fought Brazilians, I fought a couple guys from Peru, I fought in different countries, but I don't think I was, I was UFC caliber, but I wasn't ready for that. I never trained in the US before that, and I think that's what I was learning on the job. Most guys that made it the way I made it, they don't last long in the UFC. They lost 3-4 in a row, they're gone. I was like kind of those losses that I had that when I look back, I was kind of lost. I was fighting my ass off. I was, I know I got balls and I was prepared for those fights, but I didn't have what I had now. Now I've been training in the US for 6 years already, so it's just different. It's a different level. You got to train with better fighters. You got coaches all over the place and people that have been there, coaches that have been winning titles. That's why I make the move with Jason Parillo, the Ruka Gym, just because how many champions he had, and he's not the guy that grabbed a guy that is already a champion. He grabbed guys like Michael Bisping, that he was always in the top 5 and becoming a champion, and that's not just a guy. When RDA moved to him, he was doing great at welterweight too, Chris Cyborg too, so it's like, you have to see where the results came from, like somebody that is doing the stuff, and he's been doing it for a while, so since I moved full-time with him, I'm like, I think that's what I was missing. Some, better advice, better coach.
When did you make it the interim title fight between Jan and Corey Sandhagen? A lot of fans saying that was one of the better fights of the year.
I love it. I watched that fight and just brought a lot of motivation to me, and it's just another reason why I wake up out of bed every morning thinking I gotta get shit done, just because that's a high level fight. Them both are well rounded. They can do it all, and for me it's just like, if I want to get there, there's only one way to get it, and it's just stay focused, stay disciplined, and just do my job.
Over here on your right. Of course, Madison Square Garden is very close to home for Frankie Edgar. Are you anticipating it being a hostile environment this week because of that?
It doesn't matter. There can be 100 people and just one of me. It doesn't matter if it's the whole arena yelling his name. When the cage is locked, those people is just yelling. It's just me and him inside there. So it can be in his backyard, in my backyard. Even if one day the UFC will come to Ecuador, and I'm gonna make that happen. It doesn't matter. Everybody's cheering for me. You get punched in the face, you're going down. So for me, it's just the location is special. all the big things happen there in boxing. All the big, stars perform there. So I just want to be another person performing there. That's it for me.
And Marlon, back in July, your former foe, Sean O'Malley, raised a bunch of eyebrows when he said that you have to earn your way back to a fight with him, despite the fact that you already earned the win in your first bout. What are your thoughts on those comments?
Well, again, I said it many times before, we are in the times that everything is cloud, everything is like what you say, who you hang out with. I don't give a shit what he's saying, but I knock him out. You can say whatever you want, you can make fun of it. At the end of the day, he's going to bed every night knowing I put him out. So we can we can talk crazy shit, I can use my social media and, just say crazy shit. And I know people will like that, but I keep it real. I like to be real. I like to say facts, and, I earn everything I have in my life by going forward and going hard. So he can go and fuck himself.
Well, both O'Malley and Dominic Cruz are fighting next month in the same card. Those are two names you've been linked to for a while now in your career. Just curious, what do you think their matchups, and do either of those fights interest you down the line again?
I'm gonna start with Dominic. I think Dominic was smart to pick up the fight with Munoz, because we get offered to fight a couple times. He said that he was looking for something bigger and better, which we all looking for that. But still, he could accept the fight and just prove it, just beat me if he can, or I will do that. And I think he grabbed the fight with Munoz just because the way Munoz fight. Munoz is a guy that is tough, is durable, but if you move around, it's kind of like he couldn't find Frankie, he couldn't find Aldo. So I'm guessing Dominic is thinking that way. And in the other side, O'Malley have I would say a little tougher fight with Paiva, but that's a guy coming from 25, have one win in the division. It's a good win over Kyler Phillips. That's a prospect, but a prospect. There's a bunch of prospects out there, so it's not like he's coming off the biggest win of his life anyway. So they have to win. Doesn't matter who's in front of you. If you win, you have a chance at any time.
Chito, en español para Latinoamérica. Sos un prócer para el MMA latinoamericano y quizás uno de los culpables de que haya crecido tanto el deporte en nuestro continente. ¿Cómo ves la evolución del MMA desde que llegaste a la UFC, del 2014?
Pues al comienzo vi un estanque, y a todos mis amigos que pelean en Sudamérica, especialmente a mis amigos en Ecuador, yo siempre dije, siempre hablé, me criticaron mucho por hacerlo, pero como lo dije antes en inglés, yo prefiero ser real y decir lo que pienso y no contentar a la gente. Y dije, los que quieren llegar a la UFC, háganse el favor y vayan a otro país. Si no tienen la visa para entrar a Estados Unidos e ir a un equipo donde hay campeones mundiales, donde hay competencia dura, váyanse a Brasil, vayan a México, que es lo más cerca, que es estar a un nivel de la UFC. Y al principio me criticaban, me decían, no, que cómo vas a hablar así de tu país. Yo no he hablado mal de mi país, pero el nivel no está en mi país, el nivel no está en otros países. Y todos los que están llegando, o los que ya llegaron, lo hicieron saliendo. Entonces, bien por ellos. Y hoy en día hay una fila de latinoamericanos que van a llegar. Solo de Ecuador hay como 7 u 8 ahorita entrenando en México, ya uno llegó. Entonces, solo falta tiempo para que hayan, igual que los americanos, igual que los brasileños, que hayan 30, 40 más latinos dentro de la UFC. Y de ahí pues cada uno tiene que hacerse su camino, porque todo es ganando en este deporte.
La última, ¿qué crees que falta para llevar la UFC a Ecuador, para tener tu evento allá?
Pues yo cuando gané en Argentina lo pedí, dije que quería hacerlo, me dijeron que es una posibilidad, pero que están buscando primero ir a Chile, a Uruguay, que ya fueron. Entonces yo creo que solo falta seguir ganando, y obviamente si llegasen a firmar a un par más de Ecuador, pues no habría por qué no hacerlo. No tenemos arenas, tenemos lugares cerrados, hay arenas nuevas. Entonces yo creo que solo falta tiempo, ¿no? Sin desesperarse, con paciencia, y lo más importante, ganar, porque al que pierde no le dan nada. Entonces esa la tengo clara, hay que ganar y las cosas vienen. Gracias, brother.
One question, sorry. You've never been finished. Edgar is known as mostly a durable fighter. He's had a few knockouts recently. You were talking about trying to change up the style earlier and, trying to finish fights and not go to decision. but it's entirely possible. Obviously, you go the full length. Has this camp had extra cardio with, you know, trying to make sure that, you know, gas is good and all that good stuff?
Me personally, it doesn't matter if I'm fighting or not. I'm always running. I'm always doing endurance stuff. Either I'm surfing every day or I'm running every other day. But like conditioning wise, I'm always in the gym. I'm always lifting. I'm always taking care of my body. So by the time they call me for a fight, I can go 5 rounds, no problems. You know, I don't let that go because, you know, sometimes I take the gas out of sparring. You know, I take care of my head. You know, there's just many punches you can take before you just become a glass chin out here. So, but the conditioning is always there. I'm either mountain biking, running in the road, you know, 13, 15 miles year round because that don't get me hurt. That just prepare me for camp. And by the time I enter camp, I don't need to be worried about like, oh, I get tired in the sparring. I just worry about little details like, you know, let's work in defense, let's work in the middle of the cage, let's spar with specific people. So cardio won't be an issue for me. I can just go.
That's all the time we have, guys. We'll have to cut there. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you.